What is up, people? It is Dave, it is Duncan, back from Metal Epidemic for another album review. And for this review, Duncan and I have been checking out the new album from Denmark-based hardcore band Eyes. The band's new album, Congratulations, will be released on February 3rd via Indisciplinarian.
Not quite what was expected. It was like, congratulations! Because the guy's so happy in the album artwork. He's at a party. He
really looks happy, yeah.
He's just, someone has walked behind him, grabbed his head as he was just about to blow the candles, smashed his face into it while someone else was filming in it and posted it on YouTube now, and it's had millions of hits of people laughing at him. Aren't you Pieface? Yes, I am Pieface. That is my name now.
Congratulations. Returning with their third album, Congratulations, which follows up their 2020 release Underperformer, which we reviewed on the channel.
Oh, God.
Both enjoyed. Opposite the internalized thematics of Underperformer, the doubting self-reflection has now turned into anger and a feeling of powerlessness towards a world where the rich get richer and the living conditions are worsened for everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
A world where the younger generations are abandoned again and again. A world where the only available distraction is to scream into an infinite digital void or to find an alternative reality while looking down on the so-called sheep following the flock and false prophets. Congratulations was produced by Jakob Bredal at Dead Rat Studio.
I think we might have something to mention about later on to do with this.
And mastered by Brad Boatwright at Audio Siege.
We love you, Brad.
The partnership.
It really is. It's like the dream team. Like, you know, if you were at WrestleMania and Brad Boatwright and Jakob Bredal came down the aisle, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you're giving up the titles. They're walking away with it.
Yeah.
They're walking away with a big W.
Yeah. If you were in a three-way, that's the sandwich you'd like to be in between. Am I right? High five. Don't leave me hanging. This is 10 tracks, 30 minutes long.
Also, the oddest sandwich ever, because, like, Jakob's so tall, and we don't know how tall Brad is, but I don't think he's as tall as Brad, which means, have you ever made a sandwich where, like, one side
you
of
ever
the bread...
been in a three-way with a guy who's really tall?
You're really tall, so you're that person.
I'm the tall guy, yeah.
But it'd be like a sandwich where everything's wrong, because one slice of bread's huge, another slice doesn't quite cover the filling.
Yeah.
We should talk about this album.
Yeah, we should. 10 tracks, 30 minutes long. Pretty much the same as Underperformer in terms of length, but a different beast. You mentioned this as one of your anticipated releases of 2023. So I'm going to let you take the floor first, my man. What did you make of Congratulations?
Congratulations! I loved the previous album.
Yeah.
Like, I loved the previous album because it came out of nowhere for us. We didn't know anything about them. Plus, that was if memory serves, that was a year where, like, all of a sudden Denmark had a metal scene, which, like Jakob told us, has been there forever.
Yeah.
But so we'll change that sentence to, it was when me and you realised that Denmark had a metal scene. The last time we'd paid attention to that particular country was, early 2000s, like maybe towards the late 2000s. And nothing really beyond that, but they really do have one of the most eclectic, really interesting, brutal as fuck scenes on the planet at the moment.
Yep.
And Eyes are a part of that. And they're also a different beast entirely to a lot of the bands that are currently being spun to death from that part of the world. They really are this kind of very ferocious hardcore punk band with just like venom, like coursing out of every orifice and pore on their body. When you listen to an Eyes song, you kind of feel a bit grubby at the end of it. You kind of feel like you need a shower. It kind of reminds me a little bit like that first time that we ever heard Amen, that first album that came out from Roadrunner. You finish it, you just feel like uncomfortable in your own skin. Eyes are that band, and it's a combination of different things. Vocal ferocity is like key. Dude can scream. Like, dude is angry. Like, you get his order wrong at a drive-through, he will fuck you up. through his words. A violent man. But the band, like, the first thing that kind of caught me on this release is there's kind of an evolution in the songwriting, like specifically in the guitar work. The guitars are nuts. Just like you think every song you kind of feel like you get a handle on. All right, so they like using bendy riffs, and then there's fucking weird slides and they're always, as the way I would describe it, is kinetic. There's always movement. There's always something happening. Yep. They don't seem to want to ever really sit in the same three chords. They just want to keep moving, and not in a kind of jangly Dillinger way, although there are elements in here of kind of more straightforward, less techy Dillinger. Especially when you bring in those vocals. It does have a kind of like a Ben, not Ben. Dude from fucking Greg Ben was a guitarist, which is why I wanted to mention Ben, because the guitar work. No, I didn't want to mention it at all. So like Greg, like kind of like when he was at his most ferocious in that band, where they're most kind of stripped back and less jazzy. That kind of hardcore punk element they've got is just eyes throughout.
Yeah,
it's like they're just the distilled version of that, like the pure version of that. It's like making fucking bathtub gin. Yes, you know it's not being treated properly. Yes, you know if you drink it, you're gonna go blind. God damn, pass me a glass. It's like that all the way through it. But what I love about them is there's a sense of humour, a sense of irony, a bit of satire in there as well, specifically with like the song titles. But they coat it in venom, and I think as a result of that, you get a band that works on like several different layers. And it kicks off right from the off. As soon as you get Generation L, you pretty much it's like opening the door to someone that's rung the doorbell, and as you're saying hello, they slap you in the face. You're shocked. And I shouldn't have been as shocked, because I know how heavy they are. I know how ferocious and to the point they are. But you forget if you've not listened to them in a while. They're not
I'd say this is marginally heavier than the last album.
I think it is as well, and we're going to come to that in a second when it comes to production, which I think aids it quite a bit. And it's weird because on the first track, Generation L, the drum playing kicked in, and I wasn't like, sorry, Jakob, you can hate me. I wasn't sold on the snare drum sound. Give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a fucking second.
Better take that back right now. I
said on the first song. Let me finish it.
Right now.
And it's one of the... I heard it and I was like that. Oh, it's punch. It's just punch. There's no ring or anything. It's just punch.
Yeah.
And so it's like an additional metallic tom. It's like being fucking fucked in the face with a giant fucking fist, right? It's like so punch, right? Like every hit. And I was like, can't remember the snare drum sounding like this on the previous release. By track 2, all about it, Dave. All about it. I was like, that never change. I can't believe it took me a song to acclimate to this. And then on the repeated listens, it's difficult, and I'm going to come back to talking about the musicianship. It's difficult to put into words how clever Jakob is as a producer. Specifically because we mentioned it before, no two albums sound the same, but he manages to capture like a live sound.
Yeah.
Almost better than any other producer.
Yeah. Like
I've heard in modern times where you hear it and you know that's how it sounded in the room. And like that's what this album is. It is like the energy, the vibe, the tone, the musicianship. It's like being in the room with the band. The singer has you by the scruff and he's got you pulled up to his face and he's just screaming at you. And as a result, the adrenaline goes really, really quick when you're listening to it. You can't sit still listening to this album. You know, like I couldn't. Like I was walking around listening to it. I had to get off my seat. There's too much. There's too much energy. And Generation L gives way into it's happening. Yeah, it's in capitals, so it's happening. It's like shouty because it's only one in capitals. And guess what? That song is happening. It's quick. It's all the songs are quick to an extent, but what I love about them is they're a hardcore band at the roots. Punk is never that far away, but they're never like scared to just let that punk side push out a little bit more than the hardcore stuff. And it'll take like a front seat to it, and the hardcore stuff's definitely in the back, but becomes predominantly punk, and it's that energy and vibe. Bands that exist in this genre need they need, like reinvent the wheel here, but they need to feel like they're playing live.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you lose that element, you become a bit sterile.
Yeah.
And like there's warts and all in this release. Like some of the guitar playing, like there's some of the slidey shit they're doing and the bendy riffs and all the rest. I'm not saying there are mistakes in there, but if there are, like, it adds. It just gives it this ferocious human feel. And the album just keeps going. Congratulations is maybe the most sedate track on it. And it ain't sedate. You flip through things like dull boy, because that's what that means. And it just keeps going. I was curious because we spoke to Jakob and we did a wee interview months ago now. And he'd mentioned that he was going to be working or had worked with Eyes, and we were like, "Oh, big fans." And he's like, He's like that kind of smug, that way that like when someone knows something, I know something you fucking know. There was a smugness about him, Dave, that didn't sit right with me until I heard this album, and I was like, "That well played, Jakob." I find them so infectious. It's a short listen. I mean, this is like this fucking does not take its foot off the pedal all the way through, and it has the switches and it never jumps from its genre, right? But the music never sits still long enough in any way, shape, or form to feel like they are not giving you everything they've got. And then on repeated listens, I hear something they're doing on just like an extra bend on the guitar. I'm like, what is he doing there? And it's like fucking slidey scrape thing. And it's all there. It's all there. The production like underpins it, and like I say, vocally, it is like just so angry, so viciously angry, which it needs to be. Like it needs. If anything less than this would not work with the band firing on all cylinders. I already loved Eyes, right? We know that. We mentioned it.
Yep.
I think I love them more now. Like any thoughts of it being a kind of, well, it's a COVID album, that's why they're angry. This is angrier. Like they've come out of a pandemic even fucking angrier than they existed within it.
Yep.
And there is a select few bands on the bucket list for me this year. Eyes are on the bucket list. I need to see them live in the sweatiest, ugliest, grimiest, stickiest small venue in the entire Scottish capital, or Scottish largest city, Glasgow. And I need it. I need to come out that gig soaking in sweat, or I've not done justice to them. It really is like fucking amazing. It's also on of the three albums we reviewed for this week, on the exact opposite end of the spectrum in terms of like they're like Eyes are. It's not that they're a one-trick pony. It's just that trick that they have is just better than everyone else. And you spend ages trying to work out how it is they do it. But where's the fun in that? Just sit back and be bowled over by how fucking great this is. Congratulations! It's a great fucking album from a band to... They're not on your radar. I'd like, fuck you, is what I would say. Like, get with the program. Like, and they're young as well. These guys are not an old band either. No. So album 3, you said? That's still early in your career to be so fucking just self-assured of how violent you can actually be, and they deliver it on every song. It's a fucking great listen, and Moorish as fuck. Like this one's been spun predominantly because of its length. It was spun a lot more than the other two albums we reviewed in this session. So yeah, I fucking loved it. I don't even need to ask you, Dave. I can see the twinkle in thine eyes. See what I did there? Congratulations. You loved it. So
I loved Underperformer. So, like, before going into this, I was like, this is going to be awesome. Underperformer was one of those albums that just came swinging out of the gate, capturing that very chaotic, hardcore energy with really, like, punky rhythms and snarling vocals. Not an album with like huge catchy choruses, but still memorable in its own way. I feel like on Congratulations they've still got the energy and the chaos, but this is heavier than Underperformer. It feels more dense. Like when they strike those really like guttural chords, it feels like they're hitting new levels of heaviness compared to Underperformer. That opening track, Generation L, there's some just pants-shittingly heavy chords on it. Like they hit that open bottom string. It is like almost like a kind of like the brown note, you know what I mean? It's just like I was in it. Hello, like that track finished, and I was like let's go. I'm ready for the rest of this album right now. And it starts off like a little bit more like kind of hardcore punk infused, a bit faster rhythmically, with a more kind of like melodic streak to the lead work. Although it's not a happy track, it still feels quite kind of like malevolent in the melody. And then they hit a section about a minute in which teases something kind of heavier, and then that heavier section comes back towards the end. And by God, like his vocals, fucking hell, like his tone is just visceral. Like I actually shivered when his voice dropped into that more like throaty kind of tone. It's just unbelievably good. And like we now know he's taking over as the vocalist of LLNN,
which is like, I loved the previous vocalist, but I'm excited, Dave.
Like absolutely, like Christian was a phenomenal vocalist for LLNN. We saw them live last year, and he was outstanding.
He does it live.
I was thinking,
no fuckery there. That's live.
I was a little bit worried. I was thinking, how are they going to like replace that? But I am not worried in the slightest anymore, because Victor he's got it handled. Like his vocal ability has gotten stronger since the last record, and you can hear that all over this album. Like his range is increased even more. That's like those kind of high screams that you get on the title track. That I was hearing a bit of Greg Puciato on that track as well. On the City, actually, that was the track that I was thinking. It was a little bit kind of like Greg, but his kind of lower stuff, those kind of low kind of grunts and stuff, they feel even lower than before. I'm like, this album, man, this just slaps harder than your dad's slipper. Like this is just fucking, this is like every track gives you that like ferocious energy that you'd expect from that just that you'd expect from Eyes. The first four tracks are all under 3 minutes. And it's not until track 5, which is Value, that they start to kind of expand the length a little bit, give you a bit more of a kind of conventional arrangement. It's got a really catchy chorus as well. That I imagine, like when I was listening, I was thinking, in a live environment, I could just imagine the crowd screaming that back. Tearjerker works in a very similar fashion, slightly slower in pace and delivers big on the riff front, more kind of sludgy kind of tone, but a more like blunt force kind of trauma delivery. Absolutely love that track. Not only because of the heaviness, but lyrically it's one that really kind of grabs you. There's a lot of like standout lines that will stick with you. The main line is, it's a tearjerker, but our tears have dried out. And I was just like, that was absolutely stuck in my head after I heard it. It's one of those albums like when you feel like every delivery of his lyrics, like you just feel everything like he's just pouring out. It's
authentic. Like we said it before, you need for my friends, fuck off. Like everyone does that. Like if you're gonna sing about something that you feel passionately about, to write into a hardcore punk song. If I don't feel the inside of your throat peeling off when you're hitting that, you're not doing it right. And he's all the way through it. Like, I don't know how many takes he did, but every single one feels like the first take, and he's given everything.
Absolutely. And I feel like lyrically this album feels more attention grabbing than Underperformer. On I think it was the second listen to the album, I realised we'd got a little lyric sheet with the album, so I read the lyrics as I was listening to it. It actually gave me more of an understanding behind the themes of the track, so I'd definitely recommend that if you can. But ultimately, I think what Eyes have done even better on this album is create an album of distinctive songs. I think the only kind of criticism I had of Underperformer was there was maybe a few songs that had a similar tone or feel. I feel like the tracks on Congratulations stand out from each other more, like the more individuality in the tracks. They've created these like almost kind of like shifts in the tracks that are more impactful and more memorable. You can hear, as you said, the level of songwriting has improved, and the delivery, especially in the vocals, have went up a notch. Production-wise, I think the job that Jakob and Brad have done is just perfect. Like everything sounds so good in the mix. Like the guitars have got loads of clarity. Like even in those little lead bits and little kind of slides and stuff, but it's still filthy heavy. Like at the same time,
like you come back to it and you pick them up. Like even if you miss them the first time, you come back, they're so clear in the mix, which shouldn't work as good. Like it shouldn't be like it should be chaotic, but you can't pick out the nuance. That's the whole but somehow they've managed to do it.
Yep. And when that first track kicked in and the snare hit, I felt it in the back of my head.
It's like getting punched. I swear to God, it's the weirdest thing to describe. It feels like taking a punch. Like if anyone's ever taken a punch before, that's what it feels like. It just hit me, and I was like, I don't know if I can do 30 minutes of this. But by track 2, I was like a coke addict. I was like fucking right up the nostrils, rubbing it into the gums. Like, give me more.
I loved it. I think the album is EQ'd really well. I think you get lots of kind of bottom end. So like I played it in the car and it sounds great. It's like played really loud through the car stereo, but there's still a lot of detail in the top ends. It doesn't get drowned out by the bass frequencies. I think they've absolutely nailed the mix and the EQ of the album. I will not be surprised if I'm still spinning this relentlessly later in the year. This feels like an album that I'll come back to more than others. It's like stylistically it's up my street. I'm a big hardcore fan, but I think they've put out something that feels like another step forward from where they were on the last album. And like you, I just need to see them live now. That's just like
at this point, it just needs to happen. Like had I heard this album this time last year, and you said to me, "This is the year of hardcore," I wouldn't have fought you most of the year. I would have been like, "Yes, it is, Dave." I totally agree. I'm on board.
Okay, so scores. What we're thinking for Congratulations.
But you'll get us pulled off the internet, right, for copyright. I think we probably are already. I think YouTube's changed its algorithm that if you use words like kill, you're removed. So don't know how they'll handle punch to the face in the context of a snare drum production. It's a hard one. It's a hard one for me because what I want to do is I just want to give it the 5, right? I just want to give me the 5. I don't think we've heard the Best Eyes album yet. You know what I mean? I don't think we have. But then should I penalise an album because of that? I won't. It's not even that I think need to quantify it by saying I'll be surprised if I'm still listening. I know I'll be listening to this all year. It's brilliant. I've got back on the treadmill this week, and this is I run for exactly 30 minutes at the moment because I put on a lot of weight that Dave shamed me from last year. And it's a 30-minute album. It's 30 minutes I spend on the treadmill, and you honestly fucking flies through. But you come off the treadmill, want to smash something. I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna give it a 5. I'm gonna do it. I think this is the best thing the band's done, right? And I think they've got another gear we've not had yet, which just means I'll need to give them another 5. Fuck it. 5 for Eyes, and congratulations! It's fucking honestly, if there's one thing you listen to this week from the suggestions, show some love to our buds and Eyes. It's really fucking if you like your music to the point that if you listen to it, you won't kill the person sitting beside you. This is the album for you.
This album makes me want to get on the treadmill, but I won't.
Some of us don't have the metabolism of a fucking 13-year-old boy, Dave. Some of us have the metabolism of a fucking 75-year-old drunk Irishman.
This is fucking awesome. And the reason I know it's awesome is because when I'm reviewing something, I usually try and play it a good 4 or 5 times if I can, to get the feel of the album. And then I tend to take a break from it so that I don't burn out or get sick of it. With this album, I've played it probably 7 or 8 times, and I still want to go back to it. And I've not taken a break. I haven't taken a break from it. And I'm just I can maybe just listen to that Eyes album again in between this. So I'm thoroughly enjoying this. I think it's a clear step up from that last album. I think I gave the last album 4.5, so this has to be a 5 for me. Absolutely loved it. So Eyes, and
first 5 of the year, and we've done it again. I said we shouldn't fucking do it. Build into our 5s.
What are you going to do?
It does make me feel we are in the running for something special this year. I had that feeling last year right at the beginning where I was like, there's something in the air about this year that just makes me think the music's going to, and we've seen the list of things still to come. By a lot of bands like Eyes that just suddenly came on our radar for the first time in 2020 or 2019. So bring it on. Can't wait.
Yep. Eyes, congratulations, out on February 3rd on Indisciplinarian. Links below to the band, to the Bandcamp. Check out these guys, check out this album, let us know your thoughts and opinions. We loved it, Duncan loved it. I gave Duncan the eyes of the tiger.
That was almost a great review, and then you've ruined it right at the end.
Congratulations, David, you've ruined it. That is the review. Thank you for checking it out. We'll be back with another review very soon, but until then, take care. Speak to you soon.
Bye, everyone.